have been doing it all themselves. They've created the system for how they do it. It's all in their head. And then when somebody comes in and says, okay, let's get the system out of your head and how can I do that for you? And maybe here's some tweaks to it. It's a very emotional thing because you're protective of what you've created, right? As entrepreneurs, we're very protective of that. And so it's hard for them to let go. So sometimes we have to do it in baby steps and say, okay, let's just take this one little piece off for you. And then once we get that and you're comfortable with that, then we can now take this piece for you, right? And so sometimes we have to just piecemeal it out until they're comfortable, and then they build that trust with us as well.
Welcome to the Business Ownership Podcast, brought to you by Awareness Strategies, helping you navigate the waters between entrepreneurship and ownership. Hey there, peeps. This is Michelle Nedelec, and I am super glad that you're here with us today because I am here with my most amazing guest, Mary. Mary, thank you so much for being here with us today.
You are so welcome. I'm so delighted to be here.
Awesome. So give us a highlight of who you are and what you do for business.
Yeah, I get to work with entrepreneurs who are listening right now, right? I just love working with entrepreneurs because they can take a thought and turn it into something tangible and then sell that thought and then help other people with that thought, right? It's just amazing to me. I love being a part of that process. But I have two businesses. So I have a virtual assistant company that's 10 years old already. And then my coaching and consulting company is Success Magnified, and it's 8 years old. And really what I get to do in both businesses is support small business owners, solopreneurs up to maybe 5 or 10 employees, with really helping them figure out what they need to be focused on, putting an actionable plan together, and then helping them implement that plan and stay accountable to it. So that's what I get to do for a living. And I absolutely love what I do every day.
Nice. I love it. So how did you get into HR as a thing?
Well, I had marketing background, HR. I did kind of all of that in the corporate world for 20 plus years. For 10 years, I ran a law firm and did everything but practice law at the law firm. So I learned a lot about running a business from all different aspects, the marketing side, the operations side, and the HR side, the tech side, all kinds of things I learned. And then when I started my first company, the VA business, I really said, okay, I can go out there and help small business owners. But when I jumped into running my own business, as many entrepreneurs do who come from the corporate world, I got to capacity pretty quickly, which is a great problem to have, right? But it's still a problem. And then I was stuck. I didn't know, I kind of knew, but I couldn't make it happen on my own to grow past myself. So I had created a job for myself instead of a business for myself, which I think happens really frequently, right? Especially if you've always had a job, you do what you know. And so this is what I need to do. I need to get clients. I need to pay my bills. I need to do this. But then when I kept getting clients, I was like, wait, I'm working way more than I did in my other job. And now I don't have benefits. I don't have paid vacation or insurance. And it's like now I've got 20 bosses instead of one. So it really took me hiring a business coach and joining a peer advisory group and being around other entrepreneurs and having conversations so that I could learn how to move out of my job and create more of a business for myself. And so that's how I became a business coach, is because I was a client of a great business coach. And then they hired me as a virtual assistant to kind of create some systems for them behind the scenes, communications, emails, those kind of things. And I got to see the behind the scenes of a coaching business. So I was a front facing, I was their client, I was receiving these benefits, seeing the benefits it was doing for my business. But then I also got to see, oh, this is what it looks like to be a coach, right? And so I loved coaching, and it's a natural gift that I have and have been doing it my whole life. I just haven't been calling it coaching. And so then that's how I kind of built my coaching. I got certified and became a business coach in 2015 already. So it's 8 years old.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Like that, right? So.
Awesome. So talk to me about kind of the VAs that you have and that you're working with, and who you place them with, and the variety that can happen there.
Yeah, so we do a lot of just general marketing support. So for those, again, we work primarily with solopreneurs. So they're trying to manage to do everything in their business by themselves. And so we really help them have a consistent voice whether that's their email newsletter. Sometimes entrepreneurs have good intentions and they send out a couple of newsletters and then 6 months goes by before they send another one, right? So we help them with that consistency, saying we'll make sure you get it out twice a month if that's what their goal is. And then social media posts, we create help them create their content calendar and then create the graphics and things like that so that they have that. We call it the foundational posts. We don't do the social media management. We aren't doing all of that kind of stuff, but we will help you come up with content and create those posts for you so that you have at least 3 posts per week that are tied to your content, that are promoting your brand, providing value to your clients. And then we encourage our clients to still go in and interact and post some of their own personal stories as well to really, put the icing on the cake. But we're building that foundation of consistency for them. And then we have people that we help with their CRMs and making sure those things are set up, helping them with some automation, setting up email automation campaigns, those kind of things. So it's a lot of marketing support. We do some research, some, just general admin. As they add a new client, we get them everywhere they need to go and all of that kind of stuff too. So
nice.
Yeah.
So what are the biggest problems that you see that most entrepreneurs have, other than not being able to post when they say they're going to? Because I totally get it. When people are in that mode of business, it's kind of feast or famine, and they don't have that consistency, which is paramount. But other than kind of that, what do you see as their problems that leads to that, maybe?
Right. I think it's clarity and being anchored into why you do what you do. Because there's so much coming at us all the time through social media and our emails and conversations we're having about what we could be doing or should be doing, or look at what they're doing and this is how I can improve, right? And there's that constant more, better, more, better, faster kind of thing in our society. And so I think as entrepreneurs, we're getting bombarded with those messages. And so just having an anchor to say, this is what I'm doing, this is why I'm doing it, and I don't need to do all this other stuff, right? And just really having that clarity and conviction is where I think people are lacking, because then if they don't have that anchor of that why and that, here's what my plan is, then it's easy to get buffeted around and just say, oh, this week I'm doing this and this week I'm doing this. And then they can't build that consistency because every week they're doing something different or trying something new, right? And so I think really having the clarity and then the conviction to stick to that, just to stick to your plan. Doesn't mean you can't shift, but you can't shift every week, right? Or every month.
Oh, yes, they can. Trust me.
Oh, yes, they can, and they do, right? Yeah. And then they're trying to do, I use the analogy of building bridges, right? So if you're trying to build a bridge over this chasm of the solution that you're solving, right? But you're trying to build 12 bridges at once, each bridge is going to take a lot longer to build than if you build one bridge. This is the service I offer. Here's what it is. I'm consistently getting clients. Now I can move over here and build the next bridge, right? But if I'm trying to build 12 bridges at once, a lot of them are going to fail, and I'm going to be burned out before I can get one bridge built across the problem. So really helping them get clarity and stay focused is what I love to do. I call it the spinning plates in our head, right? So we all have those spinning plates of a million things we've got going on and want to do and should be doing and ideas. That's what I love about entrepreneurs is we are creative and we are always looking for a new solution, a new problem to solve for our clients, right? But at the same time, we can't spin all the plates all the time, right? So I help them get all those ideas that are spinning in their head out of their head and into a prioritized action plan, right? It doesn't mean just because you had this idea, we can't ever do it, but maybe we don't do it for 6 months because we've got these other things that we're doing right now. So that's what I get to do.
So what does it look like when somebody works with you? Because especially for the ones that have never had to delegate to somebody else, or they've never kind of had that, they're all going, you probably hear this often, I just need a mini me. It's like, yes, you don't get a mini me.
Yeah.
So how does that work?
And one of the reasons people don't delegate is they think they're trapped in this perfectionist, like I'm the only one that can do it and nobody can do it just like I am. It took me a while to delegate to my contractors, right? When I hired my other contractors to work for me, I was like, ugh, are they going to be able to deal with my client? And that, I kind of eased them into it. So I was still client facing, and then I'd have them do the work in the background, and then I was double checking the work. And it's like, this is not, this is not really saving anybody any time. And I'm the bottleneck most of the time, right? So it took me some mental work to realize, okay, the work is getting done. It's not getting done exactly how I would have done it, but it's still getting done. The result is the same, right? And so I think that's a big hurdle that most entrepreneurs have to jump through is when they have been doing it all themselves. They've created the system for how they do it. It's all in their head. And then when somebody comes in and says, okay, let's get the system out of your head, and how can I do that for you? And maybe here's some tweaks to it. It's a very emotional thing because you're protective of what you've created, right? As entrepreneurs, we're very protective of that. And so it's hard for them to let go. So sometimes we have to do it in baby steps and say, okay, let's just take this one little piece off for you. And then once we get that and you're comfortable with that, then we can now take this piece for you, right? And so sometimes we have to just piecemeal it out until they're comfortable, and then they build that trust with us as well. And the same thing on the coaching side, right? So we might start with one piece of your business strategy and then say, okay, we're going to work on pricing. We'll get that down. We'll have some sessions around it. Now you've got your pricing done. Now let's move on to the next piece, right? So I'm not going to come in and say, let me work on your entire business, right? We really have to do everything piece by piece.
Awesome. So when you're working with somebody, are you kind of working with them on how to hand off projects? Because I know from my experience, there are a ton of different ways that VAs can work with somebody. And some of them are really good at taking repetitive tasks and going, okay, you do this every day or every week, or you should be doing it every day. Let's take that off your hands. But I know when I started my business, that's not how I ran my business. I didn't have repeated tasks. I just needed stuff done. And it's like, well, by the time I tell you what needs to be done, which could have just done it myself, yes. Which was a 90% of the problem there. And it wasn't that I was a perfectionist in it. It's just I had to explain how to do what to do. And then we were off to the next thing. And there was never kind of that repetitiveness to it. And then when I kind of ran my own company, it was, I need help in a very specific area, and you need to hone in on some very specific knowledge. So how does your team tend to run?
Yeah, we tend to be more generalists. Again, that's kind of the benefit of working with, a coach and then handing it off to the VAs. As the coach, I can look at the areas of your business and see where, I do a lot of work around what we call pinnacle gift, right? So what are your natural gifts and talents? What are the things that only you can do in your business because of your unique skills? And then everything else that is still on your plate, how can we start to offload that? And which ones are the most comfortable offloading first, right? And then which ones can my team do? Or if it's not something we do, like we don't do bookkeeping. We don't mess around with anybody's money. So, but there's lots of great bookkeepers out there, right? And we all know lots of great bookkeepers. So if that's one of the things they're still doing or they need help with, then I can make a recommendation and say, okay, here's a great bookkeeper. You need to work with them. And these are some of the things you need to be doing with them or hand off to them, right? If it is things that my team can do, then I'll say, okay, we can take your social media, we can take your newsletter and build out that consistency. If they're only doing that once every 6 months or so, then I can say, let's help build up your market share by staying in touch with your current clients, past clients, and then let's get you some new clients, get you some exposure to some new people too. And then we work with speakers and authors and those kind of things as well. So if they are having live events, we can go and be there to do registration or help with, back of the room sales, those kind of things, because we're all here in Colorado. So there's just different ways, just, depending on what people need. But that's why I like doing the coaching sessions first, because I can kind of say, okay, let's focus on what you can do in your business. And then what are the things you're doing that we can give to somebody else? And maybe
I love that. So I have never heard of anybody doing the coaching and coexisting with the VA services. So how does that actually work out? If I came to you and said, hey, I need help, now what?
Yeah. So we would do some coaching, whether it's, I have a one-off 90 minutes. So if you're just like, I need help around this is an issue I know I have, and we can just kind of map out a plan and say, okay, you need to get this off your plate, hire this kind of person. Because sometimes we, as entrepreneurs, we know we need help, but we don't know who that person is or what questions to ask of that person. And so sometimes that's what I can do as a coach, is just help you vet a vendor before you buy one, before you hire somebody. Because I can ask you, I just did this in a coaching session this week, right? This guy was getting ready to hire this vendor. And so we just kind of went through, what are the pros and cons, and what are the deliverables, and what are you expecting him to do for you, and how will you know if it's working? And so just kind of giving him some questions to arm himself for the next level conversation before he hired this person was very helpful for him to have clarity about, why am I even hiring this person? What are my expectations? What are the deliverables? All of that kind of stuff. So I can help with that too on the coaching side. And then if it's one of the things that my team can do, I'll certainly say, I have a team, they can do that for you. If you want to talk to one of my VAs, I'm happy to introduce you. Or if you've already got a VA, here's some things we might, are they able to handle this? Here's how you could start giving that to them. So it's nice to be able to do a deeper dive in the business side first, and then say, okay, what can we start to get off your plate?
That's awesome. So great client story. And can you give us an example of a Cinderella story? Maybe somebody that was complete disaster that, you work through and they're like, the clouds parted, the angels sang.
Yeah. I don't have necessarily, everybody kind of goes through ups and downs, right? So, but I don't typically work with people who are in terrible messes in their business, but I have had people who are just starting out. And so they just really don't know anything about running a business. They're just coming from a corporate job, W-2 job. And so there's a steep learning curve those first couple of years, right? And so now feeling comfortable in what they're asking, what they're charging, how they're putting their packages together. So going from, I don't even know how to have a conversation with a potential client, to now I've got my whole system down and I feel confident and I know what I'm doing, right? And then I've had clients that have been, I have run peer advisory boards for women entrepreneurs, or those mini masterminds that meet monthly. And I've had some women that have been on there for 6 years almost, right? And so they tap into the group regularly, but I've seen them both go from just one person, solopreneur, to now having up to 15 contract people with them, building a whole team and going international with their companies, and really putting in the systems so that they can train, getting those things out of their head and into a documented SOPs, right? So that when they train somebody to come into their business, they can do it exactly the way they need to. So it's really fun for me to see that growth. Right. And then one story, I had a woman who was on a board for a different reason. She had created a product and she was coming to the board to kind of work on marketing. And this was her first time launching an actual physical product. And then she kept talking about something else during the board meetings and mentioning this other thing. And, she was just noticing all this stuff and there's a big problem here. And so one of the other board members said, well, why don't you train people to solve that problem? And it was like a light bulb went off. And so she created a whole new business. And now that business is going gangbusters and it's making such an impact. And she's created her own certification around it. And she's just making a big impact in the world to solve this problem that she saw. Nice. And it was because of a conversation that we had, and then coming back consistently each month and saying, okay, now I've built this. Now what do I think about this? Now this is working. How do I tweak this? And so it's just that constant growth mindset, but opening yourself up to what else is possible, which is one of my favorite questions to ask my clients. What else is possible?
Nice. I love it. So what are some of the stumbling blocks, other than never having worked with a team is one, which is a great one. And what else might somebody be experiencing listening to this that they're thinking, oh my God, Mary, I need you in my business so badly?
Yeah. So really one of my gifts is meeting people where they are, but I'm able to see big picture ideas and vision, help them vision big picture. But I also, because I come from the VA operation side of things, I know what it takes to get those things done. So I can help them break down the big picture into these manageable bite-sized steps. And then I have resources and tools and all kinds of things to help them do that. So So really, if they're feeling like they've grown to a certain level in their business and they are feeling a little stuck or stagnant or overwhelmed and they don't know how to move forward, I can relate because I was there, right? With my first business, I was like, I know how to make it bigger, but I don't know how to make it bigger because I couldn't see the forest for the trees, right? So when you're in it and you're stuck and you're all by yourself, that's when you know you need to reach out to people and reach out to a coach and find somebody that you can just having somebody to answer those questions and just talk through things. Sorry, there's a big truck going by. So having somebody to just say, let me get all this out of my head and then help me prioritize those things. That can be such a huge advantage for clients, for businesses, because otherwise it just keeps spinning in your head and you get stuck and you never move forward.
Thanks. I love that. So I know our listeners are going to want more from you. How did they start that journey with you?
Yeah, the best way is to just go to my website, which is successmagnified.com. And there's all kinds of free resources on the resource page you can go download. At the top of every page is book a free 30-minute focus session with me. So you can hop on the phone with me. We'll spend 30 minutes just talking about what's going on in your business. And if I can give you some solutions or answers or point you to a solution, then that's what I'll do. And then if it makes sense for us to work together, I'll let you know how we might be able to do that as well. And then there's there's like 5 years worth of blog topics information there. There's some great stuff on my blog. And as I mentioned, free downloads. And if you're in Colorado, I do on the water networking during the summer. So I'd love to have you come out and paddleboard with us. So all those dates are on my website as well on the events page. So that's where you can find most everything. I only really play on LinkedIn. So if they want to LinkedIn to me, all that connection is on my website as well.
Love it. That sounds super fun to go longboarding with you.
Yeah.
So we will have all of your notes all of your links in the show notes, of course. So scroll down, peeps, click on the links, go and find Mary, and of course, open up a new browser because we're not done yet. Mary, at what point in life did you know that you were special kind of crazy enough to think that you could become an entrepreneur?
Not until I became a business coach. So I've been running my own business for 2 years, but it wasn't really something that I saw myself doing. I liked my corporate job. I liked, kind of getting that paycheck and having the team around me. But once I became an entrepreneur and realized I could choose, it took about that first 2 years of running my own business and then starting to add people to my team and creating some free space for myself that I realized, oh, I like this. I don't have to report in at a certain time and take my lunch at a certain time and leave the office at a certain time. And I get to choose who I work with. And I don't think I could go back to the corporate environment now because I've gotten so used to this freedom that I have as an entrepreneur. And that's one of the things that I love to help people do. Is just like I've built in paddleboarding into my summers as an entrepreneur, I want to help other people get to that point in their business where they have the freedom to enjoy their life while they also have a business that's successful and supports what their goals are.
Absolutely. It's brilliant. You've been absolutely awesome. Any last words for our peeps?
Just keep celebrating along the way. I have a talk about the power of celebration. And so I really encourage people to celebrate all those little wins in their business because you are getting stuff done. You're out there making it happen. So make sure you're celebrating along the way, enjoy the journey and, just keep going. And if I can help, I'm here to help.
I love it. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. And I know how valuable it is.
Thank you.
Peeps, this is Michelle Nedelec. Thank you for being here with us today. Be sure to subscribe to the show and share it with your friends. We love helping entrepreneurs grow.
Are you running a business over 7 figures but still struggling with technology headaches? Pay attention, you do not want to miss this offer. This podcast episode is brought to you by Awareness Strategies, who is offering a custom-built digital adoption roadmap for anyone running a business over 7 figures who's wanting to grow their business in the next 5 years. And it's not just a roadmap, they offer full implementation as well if that scares the out of you. Check out awarenessstrategies.com/roadmap for more details today. The link's in the show's notes. Don't regret not doing this. Do it now. That's awarenessstrategies.com/roadmap.